meet you in person.
Meet you too.
We had a chat, not Zoom,
Yes.
but we connected virtually. But you're here today, and I'm happy we're actually tackling the topic that is so relevant for, hopefully, for our audience and couldn't be eliminated as we talk about changes, dynamics, transitions within the NI environment. So we couldn't mention this transition from, virtual or remote to back to the office. So I'd like us to spend some time talking about, risks and opportunities regarding or linked to that transition. But you're here today, so maybe it would be valid a question as a start question to ask you what triggered your decision not to stay in a virtual room, but to come and join us on the sofa?
Well, first of all, I think it's technical issues. I'm scared of any Wi-Fi connectivity problems. And I'm a big fan of actually coming in person, meeting the people, feeling the atmosphere and the authenticity of the event. So this is my go-to rule. And this is what I do actually in our model of working. I like to come to the office. I like to separate this work and home life, basically to feel the difference and to be more motivated and more inspired by everything that is going on around. So many reasons, but this is more of my personal approach to work and also DNI initiatives.
Yes, and you're here with us today to talk about a successful example and a successful story of this specific transition, right? So from virtual back to the office. What you also said, how I read what you just said is that you try to keep these two kind of environments separated. So when I'm in the office, it's work. When I'm at home, it's home.
Yes.
Is it even possible, Hania, how to do it, to keep this healthy separation, if that exists?
It's very fluid. So to separate it completely, it's very hard, especially after pandemic and everything that was happening before. So in online, we were at home and we had the work at home as well. So sometimes it was really hard to tangibly feel this difference between home and work. And basically, this is why I try to separate it now, as we have more opportunities to come back to the previous linings of what we had in the office and to organize something together in the office in person that gives us so much more opportunities of interpersonal contacts, of contexts where we are together and to feel those moments that cannot be felt in the online. So I'm a big fan of experiments as well, so I see how people react on our initiatives that we organize, what connections do we make as well when we are in the office, because it's always about feeling the group, feeling the topic that we are addressing when we are in the office, for example. And it's always about additional benefits that we have. For example, those little conversations in the kitchen when somebody's too shy maybe to ask in the online or even to drop a message, we can always bump on each other in the kitchen and have this nice Q&A mini session when somebody might be inspired to do something more, to ask how to start, basically, to organize something in the future.
That's so interesting, because what you're presenting as benefits or even a reward to be able to have this conversation in the kitchen area, to bump into someone that you didn't expect in the office. We used to take it as a norm in the past. Now it's almost like a reward if you come and make this decision to be in the office today or tomorrow. This is so interesting. And interesting, yes, but also challenging, because I think what we're facing now, you can disagree with me obviously, is like unlearning behaviors, right? And trying to model new behaviors. And I really liked the example that you provided when we were having our talk prior to the conference about role modeling and shaping certain behaviors in the organization. So can we briefly touch on that? We have been talking about the importance of role modeling throughout the whole conference. So if we're looking to make this successful transition, or create a healthy mix, what would be the, some of the good strategies that you have implemented?
As a DNI lead that I became not that long ago, I feel this empowerment in my hands that on my own example, I can lead the team starting from encouraging to come to the office on that particular day. So what I started doing, I place placeholders. I communicate in advance that, hey, team, I'm going to be in the office. If somebody, even one person, even two people are in the office, it will be nice to have you. But I specifically always emphasize that I will be there, just come and meet me, it's fine. Nobody's carrying you there. And it's basically a very simple thing, just to plan your visit and just to be there for a coffee, for something that we cannot afford in an online. So I do this on a regular basis. Sometimes I come 2 times per week, sometimes it's once in the office, but I always try to set this example on my own basically knowledge as well, and I just do it. I just tell people that I'll be there for you. Don't be scared. Just have this initiative and also join me. So it's also about my motivation, inspiration, and I try to be contagious with my inspiration and have it around.
Yeah. I believe you. And I think what you're also saying is that there's a big window of flexibility. I think that's pretty much, we can call it the principle for the company, yet flexibility needs structure. So if you allow people to make the decision and to choose whether I'm attending DNI initiative virtually or in person, that's fine, but still a healthy structure is put in place in the organization. So flexibility, yes, but that requires some structure. So can you give us some examples what in fact creates this healthy and sustainable structure in your organization?
So basically, this is also all about our model. We work in a hybrid way, but depending on the department, we can go to the office more often or less often, but everyone is always welcome to join. But what we actually do, we set specific dates for on-site events that we also announce in advance. So we build the structure with the communication. So we let people know that, okay, in 2 weeks you have this inclusion breakfast, and you can be prepared for that. You can book a reminder. You can placeholder this event in your calendar. And we give possibilities, but we have this stable role of the flexibility that the team member can have. So we're not forcing anyone. We just give this very agile approach to come into the office, to seeing people, to being engaged. So this gives people freedom of choice, and this is something that I really like. And they are free to join the event, and of course the spreading of the word from other team members that, yeah, that was a great initiative, maybe I will join next time, gives also us additional release of the trust in our on-site events, and this creates a real-time magic in the future.
So having this freedom, Hania, and being able to choose between whether I can attend and have this experience online versus virtually, do you apply any specific criteria or set of criteria to for making this decision? In fact, yes, this initiative, this DNI initiative makes total sense to be led from the office room versus it's okay if we run it online. I wonder how you build this portfolio of choices. What is the criteria for positioning virtual versus on-site?
So we have our must events in the calendar and some plans that we want to have experiments on. So for example, our Pride Month initiative and also mental health initiatives are 2 main points in the calendar of DNI. But also we try to combine challenging topics with more pleasurable integration. So basically, when we meet in the office, for example, for anxiety discussion, afterwards we have a Lego game to release this stress and have this unwinding experience of also integration, and having discussions after such a challenging panel discussion with our hosts that presented the material. So, for example, as well about the inclusion language that we organized as a first breakfast, first Pride breakfast, we had the inclusion language conversation. That was quite challenging and surprising for many team members. And after all, we had colorful cupcakes as a reward for everything that was prepared, that was learned, and we had another opportunity to contemplate on what has been said already, but in a more fun way, so to say. So we kind of put the focus from this challenging conversation. Afterwards, we have this reward and integration that we always try to focus on.
Okay, and it's difficult to taste a cupcake, as we're still on the full metaphor, to taste it virtually, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And what you're saying, at least how I read it, is that once you create this setup, like a face-to-face setup, like you're with your colleagues in a physical space, you transition from having a conversation or a topic to a real experience. But can you copy this in the remote setting?
Of course we can. We had very similar conversations and topics in the past. In online, they worked as well. I'm not saying that virtual is not effective at all, but we just had entirely different feedback from the on-site conversations, meetings, panel discussions that hit all the expectations, all the feedback responses that we had recently in our last town hall of the year. So on-site events won, and I was really surprised after all the work that we've done in online and offline as well. And we had this really nice comparison on the example of Mental Health Month. So last year we organized a panel with a speaker. It has a nice results, and the conversation needed to be continued. And this year we organized this on-site, and we saw the absolutely exceptional experience and this hunger for more. So from the feedback from our team members, I can see that this formula has appetite, and we will continue with this as well.
Okay, and just to close our conversation, if I ask you to give us like one action verb as a recommendation for our audience to strive for this healthy balance between virtual and on-site, like one keyword, can be action verb, can be whatever is on your mind, what would it be?
I would say go outside, go out there to team members, to your employers, and just to try something new, experiment. Maybe experiment is a good word. Yes.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Thank you so much, Hania.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Lovely conversation. Thanks.